Could you imagine being 53 years old and getting a Facebook message that you're someone's kidnapped relative? This little baby girl was found alive 51 years after being kidnapped. Alta and Jeffrey Highsmith married very young and within a year were welcoming a little baby girl named Melissa. Sadly, the joy of welcoming a little baby did not last very long. Alta really struggled with being a new young mom, and her and Jeffrey were fighting constantly. Jeffrey admits that at this time he wasn't being a good father or husband. He was young and selfish, and this led to him and Alta splitting up. Alta and little baby Melissa moved in with a roommate, and at this time were receiving no financial help from Jeffrey. Alta was struggling. Now she's a young single mom with no money. She needed to find a job and she needed to find one fast. And she ended up finding a decent job, but they did not offer daycare for baby Melissa. So Alta took an ad out in the newspaper saying that she was looking for a babysitter, and really quickly she got a response from a woman who was interested in babysitting little baby Melissa. This was 1971. You couldn't just look someone up on Facebook or Instagram to see if they were a weirdo. But Alta did ask this woman if she could meet up the following day, so she could just meet her, ask her some questions, but that woman never showed up. That woman did end up calling Melissa a couple hours later, apologizing that she didn't show up, and said she was still interested in babysitting Melissa if Alta was okay with it. And at this point, Alta was desperate and out of options. She had to start this job the following day or she was going to be fired. She needed that job so she could support herself and her baby. So against her better judgment, she agreed to hand over her baby to someone she never met. The next day, Alta left to start her new job, and she asked if her roommate could hand over baby Melissa to the babysitter when she got there. Shortly later, someone did come to the door and introduce themselves as Ruth Johnson, Melissa's babysitter. That person was in the home for only a few minutes before they left with little 22-month-old Melissa. Something really interesting about this Ruth Johnson person is that Alta's roommate said that this person could have been a man impersonating a woman. That babysitter was meant to drop little Melissa back off later that evening, but they never did. Little 22-month-old Melissa Highsmith had just been kidnapped. Alta obviously blamed herself, but so did Melissa's father, Jeffrey, because he wasn't financially supporting them. The grief of losing their baby kind of pushed the two of them back together. They ended up remarrying and having 4 more children, but they never got over losing Melissa. And it was always this super weird thing for their new 4 children, knowing that they had an older sister that was kidnapped, that they never got to meet. And as social media and the internet became a thing, it was actually Melissa's siblings that were posting and pushing to keep her story alive. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children actually made an age progression photo of what Melissa might look like as an adult, and they started getting a lot of leads, especially of women that thought they could be baby Melissa. But they never were, and every single time the DNA test came back as negative, it destroyed Melissa's family a little bit more. Then at the end of 2022, so not even that long ago, a tip came in from South Carolina that someone said they saw a woman that kind of looked like Melissa's age progression photo. Sadly, this woman was not Melissa, but for some reason, unlike all the other times, Melissa's family felt hope that they were going to see Melissa again, and they were right, because within 1 month, Melissa was reunited with her family 51 years after she was kidnapped. Melissa's father, Jeffrey, put his DNA in one of those genealogy websites, 23andMe, and it showed that he had 3 grandchildren that he did not know. There was only one explanation. These were Melissa's children. They ended up tracking down the mother of these children on Facebook. Melissa was going by Melody Walden, and they messaged her. Could you imagine being 53 years old and getting a Facebook message from someone saying that you're their kidnapped relative. Melissa Melanie messaged them back and said, "I'm so sorry, I'll pray for you, but I'm not the woman that you're looking for." But she decided to do some digging into Melissa's kidnapping. She said she was shocked to realize that little baby Melissa Highsmith had the exact same birthmark as she did. Also, when she looked at her baby photo compared to her baby photo, it was like the babies were twins. So Melanie confronted the woman that raised her, and that woman admitted that back in 1971, she bought her on the street for $500. The past 51 years of Melanie's life were a lie. Her name was a lie. Her birthday was a lie. She finally got to be reunited with her real parents and meet her younger siblings. Something that was broken in all of these people began to heal. Obviously, it was still a bittersweet moment for all of them. Alta and Jeffrey lost out on 51 years of their daughter's life. Not only did Melissa have to come to terms at the age of 53 years old that her entire life was a lie, she also had to realize that she lost out on a loving family. The people that bought Melissa were extremely abusive, and she ran away from the home at 15 years old and had to work the streets as a teenager to survive. Today, as far as we know, they are a super, super loving, close family. Melissa even legally changed her name back to Melissa, which I thought was really, really sweet ending to this story. Unfortunately, the statute of limitations for Melissa's kidnapping expired over 30 years ago. So even if they found the people that kidnapped Melissa, they would not be able to be brought to justice. It was so refreshing to cover something with a happier ending today. I know it was still bittersweet, but there was a happy ending. A family was brought back together. If you watched to the end of this, thank you so, so much. Drop some pink emojis in the comments so I know that you saw this, and I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.